Okay, I believe
And
we are live. Yes.
good morning, everyone. Yes, it's morning. I had to take a quick peek. It's been a long day already. Welcome to Geekspeak. Today we're here with me, of course. I'm Greg from Original 72 Creative, and with us also.
I'm Rena from Little Works Indie Media.
Today we are talking about optimizing your site for lead generation. So I don't know how I came up with this topic. I think it was just scrolling through things that I think should be stuff that is maybe things that we don't talk about too much,
Yeah.
but is important. Because in my years of doing web stuff, I find the businesses I work with don't have this top of mind. They're more like, what does my website look like? What's on it, but not necessarily how we're trying to use it to actually, get them new customers or make more sales and things like that. So, I mean, that's the basis of what lead generation is all about is essentially looking at your site and making sure you have elements on there so that it actually will engage or give an offer or get the customer that is coming to your site to do something, whether it's reach out, subscribe to a mailing list, all these different things. So optimizing your site so that you can start getting these leads.
Yeah, so there are kind of two components to that. I think what you're getting at is design related. There's a design to it, to how people look and act on a page. And then, so let's go down that road and talk about what needs to be included and where you might think things should go. Greg, do you want to start us off?
Sure. Well, basically, what you're wanting to do in that respect, obviously, is have like the key elements of what lead generation will do for you. So, some type of a call to action or CTA that's clear and compelling for people to interact with and
Yeah.
do whatever it is you're trying to get them to do. Obviously, those types of things. There's places throughout your page that they're best suited.
Hmm.
Typically, you'll want to have something immediately right at the top of the page. You'll also want to have something near the bottom and even something maybe in the middle that is in a specific spot, maybe depending on what you're talking about or something like that. But they should all be the same clear message. Like
Hmm.
it shouldn't be different from place to place, and that
Yeah.
one page that you're on, whether it's a normal page on your site or it's actually a landing page for this specific purpose, always needs to just have that one call to action.
Yeah. Yes, so for content wise, like I'm not talking about design, where you want to bring people down a clear story of and give them as the information that they're going to need to make that purchase. So you might have like the essence at the top where people can buy right away. They already understand their problem. They understand that your solution is the answer. They've done all the research already. They may have looked at other options and then they're ready to buy or book a call or whatever it is. And then as you go further down, you're going to give more and more information to support that call to action when you think about your funnel. So maybe the mid funnel stuff goes in the middle section of your page, and then the upper funnel stuff might get a little bit down. So you're going to give better depth of information the further you go down, and that's why you want to have a call to action button placed in different places because you're trying to capture that different level of viewer to try and get them to make the call to action at different stages down the information that you're giving them.
Hmm.
So what about design wise? Like, let's just say, let's take an example for we want to sell um, oh, what do I want right now? Oh, I want a retreat. I want to go on some retreat somewhere and do some yoga. So
Hmm.
what would you say the design, what would be good for design aspects if you're giving that much information? Usually landing pages are actually fairly long. How would you organize things?
Um, I mean, the first thought would be in that scenario, you're going to want to use imagery that projects calm and something serene, and someone like have, feeling that they would be very relaxed at
hmm
this yoga retreat. Is that what you said? A yoga retreat or
Yeah,
something?
totally. Yeah, that's
And
exactly what
so,
I want to
so yeah,
feel.
that kind of like you, because people buy on feeling or register on
Yeah.
feeling or like it, so if you give them that feeling that they're looking for, that's what you want to hit. So my
hmm
first thing would obviously be looking for visuals to project exactly what that feeling is we're trying to give to the customer so that that makes them engage more and then continue reading
hmm
the text that we have on the page. And then that text again is going to hit um, words and feelings as well by saying, you know, things like serene, welcome to our, serene place, or, I don't know, like,
Yeah, so when it
you know
comes to
what I mean, but
yeah, totally.
yeah,
When it
yeah.
comes to copy, it's very particular. So one of the biggest newbie mistakes is to focus on the features of your offering. We do this, this type of this type of language is nobody. There's this really funny ad that's circulating on Facebook. It just cracks me up every time I see it. It's this guy in the middle of the street and he's yelling, "Nobody cares about your product." And what he's trying to get at is that we moved from um, providing the features into
Mhm.
providing the benefits, but now we're even beyond that. We're looking at like how do these benefits affect the person, the body? What is their life going to be like when they make that purchase? And that's what people are registering with more so than anything else. And I think that's what you were getting at when you said that they're what did you say? You said something about I
Ultimately,
forgot the word.
people are trying to have their problem solved. So whatever
Yeah,
problem it is
yeah.
that they feel they have, you're trying to target that and
Yeah, but they
speak
might not
to it
even
and
be
say that
aware.
we can solve this by
Yes.
bringing you to our beautiful spa and calming you.
Yeah.
Um, that kind
It's
of
the
a
yeah, so it's the calm. So they might not even be aware that they have a problem that needs fixing and that you have the solution. So they'll just fall into that calm. Yes, absolutely. That and then it's like, "Oh, maybe I do want to retreat," rather than somebody that's already identified their problem. I'm so stressed out, I need a retreat. And then where to find that retreat. So it's a little bit of different, but yeah,
well,
exactly.
of
So you
of course, for sure, you're going to have different people landing on your page. You're going to have people maybe that are not knowing exactly what the page is going to be about, but have a loose idea, or you might have people fully going there knowing about you. So you're going to have different information. Like at the top, you're going to have that more generic, like this is who we are, this is why you're here, this is what we can provide you. And then, like you were saying earlier, going down the page as a progression, it's going the next section down, you're going to give a little bit more detail about,
yeah.
what you're going to get or what you're going to do and stuff like that. So some people who already know will just start scrolling down or just click the call to action right away
Yeah.
or go further down just to get that more information part
Yes.
before clicking the call to action.
That's right. But I do
Yeah.
want to clarify one thing that you said that sort of made me feel, oh, really? Okay, well, not quite. Because a landing page is, People should know what you're offering by the time they get to the landing page, because there's usually an ad that accompanies the landing page that's targeted to specific people. So
True.
that part, but you're right. They might not know who you are or what your offering is, just that the whatever they get from the ad. So, but yes, I totally agree with the rest of the sentiment on how it's organized that way. And then, so to optimize your landing page, the one thing that you have to really do is make sure that your ad is already optimized in order to make sure that your landing page is optimized. If you haven't optimized your ad, then there's no way for you to determine why things are not happening. It could be the ad, it could be the landing page. So it's really important to optimize your test and optimize your ad first. Get that working, and the way that you know that that's working properly is that your click-through rate is really high, your target is really good, and you're getting people to that landing page, so they're actually landing on the landing page. Once you've got those numbers assessed to be in the right range, then and we're looking at like a click-through rate of like over 1% is okay, 3% is good, 6% is excellent. So, depending on how you're targeting, you should be able to get that. And it also depends on what you're targeting for. Once you've got that done, then we can determine what's happening on the landing page. So what Greg and I are talking about are kind of guidelines on what's happening on your landing page, where things should go. But there's a whole other section, and that is about tracking your landing page. How do you actually tell what's going on in your landing page? Um, should I just can should I just Okay. I just not sure if
You're on
I'm
a roll.
speaking.
Keep going.
I'm on a roll. Okay,
Mhm.
so the first thing that you want to do is make sure that you're tracking what's important. So you want to have Tag Manager on your website, and you want to have all of the key functions that you want to have happen on your landing page tracked. So it's not just people that get to your landing page. A lot of people only have Google Analytics set up. That will only really give you a certain amount of information. What you want to be able to do is to actually track the clicks. If you have like if you're looking for a form submission or something like that, then you want to track the form submission. Anything if you want to know how far down, you can also use this full scroll, but I don't really use that. My trick of the trade is to use Microsoft Clarity to track what's going on. They actually, it's so cool. They actually record every land that goes to your landing page, and you can see the cursor where people are, how they're going down, where they're reading, where they get stuck, where they rage click because they think there's a should be a button there. They can't figure out how to get the information they're looking for. If they have a dead click, that's another thing you want to know about. And then if they leave, if they're all leaving at one particular part, then you might want to consider if you've got the right information on your landing page. That's often one of the issues that has and that happens. And and then there's even one time that I was reviewing a landing page for a client, and it was the most frustrating thing because this person went all the way down the page. I could see them typing in their information on that form to get a quote, and then boom, they just left. And I have no idea why did they not hit the submit button? And it kills me. So then we have to figure out like that helps give you information. Is the form working? Was there a problem with the submit button? In this case, there was not. But you can figure out where people are leaving and why they're leaving, and get a better return on your landing pages when you do that kind of work. So it takes
Yeah.
a little bit of time, and it takes a little bit of figuring out, analyzing your content, where they're leaving. Sometimes maybe you've written something poorly and you just need a copywriter to get in there and fix that up. Maybe you need to break up your paragraphs into really easily read bullet points. That can sometimes help. There's all sorts of things, and that's Greg, your design work really speaks to that, like how you should organize your content on a page so that it's easy to read and digest and
Hmm.
get to where they need to go.
Hmm.
So
I
um,
wanted to say, besides the call to action, how important what you're saying is to actually
Yes.
get someone to do something.
Yeah.
I think people struggle sometimes with what to offer as a lead
Hmm.
magnet.
Yeah.
Um, and whether or not you should offer something for free, maybe, to, like, for instance, a mailing list sign up, or I don't know, some type of a downloadable
Hmm.
item for free to get that customer's information. Do you have any thoughts
I
on what
do. I
for
do.
for
I do.
actual offers that
Yeah, I do.
people
I think
really?
your offer needs to be really particular to what it is that you're trying to sell. So I find that if you're in the information sector, so you're selling a course or something like that, then a free downloadable or a mini course, video course, or something like that can be
Preview.
totally, yeah, it can be totally useful because they'll get a real sense of how the information is going to come to them, what kind of information they're going to get, all of that stuff. So that can be really good. But doing a downloadable for on the 10 best, shoe designs because you're a shoe seller is probably not going to work that well. So make it make sense. That's the one thing. The other thing is that um, you have to have some low offers, some low value offers in terms of things that you're selling, but still make sense for you when you're doing that. When you're doing offers. You can't go from a freebie to a $5,000 package and expect that bridge to happen. So you really need to have a really good funnel and you need to nurture your people well. That's really important. I see people, there are tons of people signing up for things that are free, and then they have no intention or no budget to be buying anything that's that large.
Hmm.
The other one that kills me, and I've signed up for these things before where I'll get like the most updated marketing research from the research companies. And then I'll have to put in my telephone number in order to get it. And then they'll call me and say, "Oh, you booked a call to learn about our giant software that I have no intention of buying." I think that's also a mistake. So, what I like to do is instead of doing a lead magnet, sometimes lead magnets are good, and sometimes I do that with clients for sure. But the other thing that I've started doing, if I have something that's maybe a little bit different, I'll just put up a pop-up for signing up to the newsletter at
Hmm.
at the end when people are going to leave the landing page. You can do that. So instead of when they get there taking their information, do it when they've had a time to consume your landing page and they've decided that now's not the time for them to buy, then have a pop-up. I find that that's more of a authentic, organic growth, and that those um, emails tend to be higher quality and more closely related to people that you want on your email list because keeping your email list clean is one of the next. It's hard. You don't want to just be continually giving free stuff to people who want free stuff and never getting them to convert to your value stuff that costs money. So
Yeah.
so you need to build out that road and that nurture, that sort of sequence that you're going to do, and make it make sense price wise. And you might need to change things up. So I know lots of people really place, and we learn this too as entrepreneurs. We're told to increase your price, increase your price. Your stuff is valuable. You just don't realize it, right? But if you're starting off with the first thing that they're going to buy as $600, that might not work out. You might need to find something that's $99 that you can offer. And
Hmm.
so that again, you have an opportunity to build trust. Make sure you've got the right people in your list, and then get them to the next thing. Have them wow them on that, then get them to the next thing. And then, of course, you see a lot of tripwires. So it's like you've bought the $99 thing. Oh, but wait, there's more. And then you can upgrade to the VIP experience and join the group and get the hand holding for, another few $100s or whatever it is. So the tripwires when you're making that first purchase is another way to get people to act. But this also works for e-commerce sites. So if you had like if you're using a product page or a category page as a way to get people, and that's your lead, you want and the idea is to make a purchase. You can send them there. If it's not the right time for them to buy, then you can do the pop-up window and get them in your ecosystem right away. And so that when you have a sale on that item, they're the ones that get that information. Maybe that's the friction point, or maybe they just need to maybe just that day they're just busy and they saw it and they're going to go away, and now you've got them on your email list. You can get them back a little bit later
Yeah,
or through
the
or through
exit intent
retargeting.
on an e-commerce site is big. I'm a
Mm,
fan of the exit intent.
yeah,
Uh, Although it really depends on what the customer wants to offer on that exit intent, because typically on an e-commerce site, when you're looking at a product and then for whatever reason, if you decide to leave the site or leave the page and that exit intent pops up,
yeah.
you can't just be like, are you sure you want to leave? You don't want to buy it. There's typically
Yeah,
some type of an offer or incentive
yeah,
to try to get them to buy it. So
yeah,
uh, it's
like
usually like get 10% off if you
yeah,
buy
like
it, or whatever.
honestly, I don't buy from stores that don't offer the 10% sign up to my list, 10% off. Like I generally it's rare to come across one that doesn't have that already. Like that's actually a good reason to buy, and I will always sign up to get that 10% off, always. And I don't mind. I have a whole, like my shopping is, I have a whole shopping email where I just use one email address for all my shopping. And
Hmm.
so it's just filled with people's, newsletters so I can see what's on sale when.
Hmm.
Yeah, but that's actually really important, and it's really good to work with somebody that can do this analysis for you if you are having issues. But definitely connect Microsoft Clarity to your website. I believe it's still free, so it's an incredibly useful tool if you're not using it already.
Yeah, I have that for a couple of clients. They like me to go through and just we don't necessarily use it for like maybe for all its intended purposes, but it's
Hmm.
more just to make sure that the site is working the way we want, and there's no specific areas where
Yeah.
something is happening that people are that is just not working for people.
Yeah, their weekly summaries I find really helpful because you can see immediately if the dead clicks or back clicks are up significantly, then it's like, uh-oh, so what's happening here? Is it a problem with the ad? Is it something not working on the page? And then I'll go check, and that's usually I find that super useful.
Those dead clicks drive me nuts because, for me as well, like maybe it's just because I'm like, I don't know, ADHD or something. Like when I'm on a site, like I'm just clicking around randomly, right? Which would all be like marked as dead
Yeah,
click. So I
yeah,
see a lot of videos of that, like other people who are just on the
yeah,
site, like
yeah.
clicking and then selecting some text for no
But
reason, and
there's
they're just
But there is rage clicks I think are more interesting than dead clicks. Rage clicks are like when people are actually, getting
yeah,
angry, figuring out.
yeah,
And then the other one, quick backs can often tell you that there's a problem with your site loading, like your site speed, something is weird. We had that come up this week for us
too
and
long.
realized that it was we had a malware issue with one of our clients, and we were using a particular scanner and that was slowing the site down a little bit. So
Hmm.
it was good to know that, and then we could take that off, and explain to understand what's happening on your site. That's really what it's about. So I think
Hmm.
we're actually a little bit over. Oh no, we had 5 minutes because I
We're a
was
little under, but
we
there's a
can go.
couple of things that maybe we
Yeah,
can just quickly
that's
go
true.
through that I thought of
Sure.
mentioning was obviously making sure your whatever you're offering has a value, right?
Yeah.
Because if it doesn't have value, people aren't going to be interested. That's like going to be a big thing of not
Ah.
not getting that person to out reach out to you or whatever it is. Like make sure
And
it's some type of valuable information or valuable offer.
yeah, I actually
But
have a little t tip on that if I could just interject. Um, really pay attention to your organic social posts and see what people are responding to. And that's
mm-hmm,
often a very good clue as to what to offer. I
hmm
know you're right. So many people think that they've got the answer that people are going to want, and then it's actually not the fact. But and then you could also, we used to do testing like this every now and again, where we would create an ad for a downloadable, for example, and we would um, have different topics for that downloadable, and we would just see the clicks and measure the clicks, and whichever one won was the topic that we would go for. So you can
hmm
test all of that in advance before you spend the time building your freebies and your landing page. Honestly, it's such a good shortcut.
Yeah, a couple other things for the landing page specifically, or just whatever page you're using to try to draw people in, is have a trust factor with testimonials and things to give
Right,
people that feeling that other people have used or bought this or whatever, and you can build a little bit of trust with that potential customer. Certifications and logos and things.
right.
If you're some type of certified whatever, those types of things will also give people that feeling that you know what you're talking about or know what you're doing. On top of that, obviously, like you were saying with Microsoft Clarity, those backlinks could indicate problems with your site loading or stuff. So obviously, make sure your site's optimized or the page is optimized for desktop and mobile device, so it's
Oh,
quick.
yes, mobile. That's the, and make sure your forms are responsive, right? That's
hmm
another one. So sometimes forms just don't go down to mobile very well. And
Well, yeah, that was one of the things I want to mention about forms too. Is I find sometimes people make them complex, and the easier you
mm,
can make them, the more you'll convert because the
yeah,
barrier to filling them out and giving whatever information you're asking for is less. So don't
yes.
go overboard with trying to get too much information.
Yes, yes, that's for your second call. That's for your second touch point, you know.
Yeah,
And that's
yeah,
a
yeah.
totally great thing. And make sure that all of, if you're going to put telephone numbers in there, make sure they're all clickable. That's the other one, so that people can on their phone can just, phone. And actually, those clickable links work on desktop too, if you've got FaceTime organized. And I'm sure there's a PC version of that, but I like that
You
option.
You did mention analytics already right off the bat because it is a very important part. But if you can use some A/B testing on, different text or different button um, items, or even different, slightly different page layouts, if you have the ability to do a little bit of A/B testing, it
Yeah.
could go a long way in helping do get you a little bit more conversion.
Absolutely. So that was the last thing, though, is that you had mentioned doing landing pages right on your website and doing landing pages on a landing page, sort of like ClickFunnels and those, I forgot what some of the other ones are called. Um, and that's true. You can, like WordPress actually does have an A/B split testing plugin that you can use for landing pages, so you don't have to just use WordPress regular pages if you don't want to. You can set them up like that. Um, um, and do you use landing page platforms at all?
No, I don't. I typically build all any landing pages that we want to build just within a
On the
WordPress
WordPress?
page.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I do
I
that
think
too.
the difference between some using a service that you can create specific landing pages is more for the pre-built template options of landing pages,
Right.
and
Yeah.
maybe additionally for whatever analytics they give you on it. But because Because I build pages for clients, I mean, I can easily build a
Yeah,
landing page within their own site,
yeah,
specific to however we want it to look. We don't need to
yeah,
get that service. And again, with all of your analytics set up properly, if it is,
yeah.
then you have all of that data as well. So,
Yeah, the and you're also capitalizing on the long views, so and the traffic. So you're sending traffic and views to your website, which is actually excellent for your organic SEO. So that's one of the reasons why I like to do my stuff on WordPress too. But I did in the olden days use those. In fact, you can build entire sites with those platforms if you want
mhm,
and have
mhm,
that. And then, but the one thing that I wanted to say is that I do all of my split testing and A/B testing on ads first, and then that usually gives me the information that I need to create my landing page anyways. So I'll test the images first, then the headlines, then the copy, and if I usually use that, then I'm usually getting a fairly decent conversion rate on the landing page too. But
mhm.
if you're definitely if you're not testing your ad by using ads, and I really feel it strongly that if you're using a landing page, you should be using ads because you need that traffic. Otherwise, it just sits there and waits for something to happen. But
Yeah,
I just think that yeah, I forgot where I was going on that line of thought. Sorry. Forgot what my end of my sentence was. But I think we're about out of time. Yeah, we've come up to
yeah,
31 minutes now. Yeah.
pretty
Yeah.
close at least. So,
Yeah.
and I think we got through anything that I was sort of wanting to maybe mention.
Good. Great. Yeah, I think that we covered pretty much everything that was on my mind. So next week we have the this week in the month of this week, this month in the
Actually,
this
next week
no?
is the topic I'm filling in for
Oh,
you.
right.
It's
Right.
crack the Facebook code, outsmart the algorithm, and boost
Ah,
visibility.
that's I'm so bummed out that I can't be part of this one. I'm doing a training with Pip and or an event with Pip and because this is like something that I just learned a whole bunch of new fun stuff on. So maybe we'll have to have a one-to-one and go through some of that new algorithm stuff with you on the
Yeah,
side. Anyways, it'll be a
to
great
that next
show.
week.
Meet us back here at 11 or catch us on the replay wherever it is that you found us. We do live in the Marketing Mixer Facebook group. If you'd like to join us and find some community around marketing, we'd love to have you. See you next week.
Thanks, everyone.
All right, I guess I have to stop this finish.